Hello guys and welcome to Steve Knows. Upload just smashed out a fantastic showcase. I do love these events as it showcases more than what Meta have their fingers in and the hard work of those in the community. So I'm going to massively condense that video, that 2-hour showcase, to all of the new games that are coming soon or releasing today. So please hit subscribe for the effort, leave a like as well. Let's go over nearly 40 new games coming soon in 2023 to 2024. I think there's enough chin wagging. Let's get started. In this video, we do have a sponsor for a new game, one of the most hyped looking titles for sure, from Skydance, the creators of The Walking Dead. They have also teased us Behemoth. This is one of the best VR devs around. They're giving us a Japanese-inspired title called Arashi Castle of Sins. This is a remaster of a PSVR exclusive, but brought to modern VR, so many of us would not have played it. Just the style of this game has me excited, and you have a wolf companion. That is the cherry on top. To celebrate the announcement of this game, they're giving away 5 Quest 3 headsets. Not Quest 2, Quest 3. So do not miss out on this. Enter down below for a chance to win one. After seeing this showcase, you're going to want that upgraded mixed reality headset. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Enter down below and enjoy. DeadHook. This was the first game shown, and you'd be hard-pressed not to think this is Doom. It has heavy beats, there's demons, and a grappling hook which can be used upon enemies or to traverse like Spider-Man. That is all music to my ears. Literally. This is a roguelike shooter, so there are progressive elements with over 100 buffs and upgrades to tackle each run. This is coming the end of June on the 29th to Meta Quest, and I cannot wait. Stack, a multiplayer title that looks so freaking awesome, and there's also a chance to have a social experience with friends. In it, you'll have this disc that you have to throw, hit pickups, and attack enemies. It can also rebound off walls, which adds a tactical element to it. Combining this with fast-paced traversal, which Joyway clearly nailed from Stride, the game has such a great pacing. The title will also be free for those who experienced the title and downloaded it during its App Lab phase. It's now coming out officially on June 22nd. Stride. This is an update, but it's a campaign update. The parkour title that was coined the Mirror's Edge of VR is now becoming more Mirror's Edge-like. You can experience gunfire, knife fights, swinging from drones, and leaping between buildings to complete objectives and take out your enemy. I do love this title, and it completely rewards you as you skill up for smoother parkour traversal. Some may recognise this update that was teased 6 months ago, but it was delayed to ensure the best experience. Always a great move, Joyway. Thank you. I love a single player campaign. Shootout, a multiplayer shooter that has over 900 weapon combinations and a team-based element if you want to come out on top. The trailer, if you saw it, was like a hyperactive sensory overload, I think, to highlight the fast-paced nature of this title. You can playtest this game right now. It's in an open alpha. Just join the Discord, which I will link down below in the description. Also, if you want a really in-depth coverage of this experience, Effin Hate It, who I will link down below, did a dedicated video on it, and he goes over everything. Toss. This is not an 18+ title, but rather a game from Vertigo, bringing a really quirky climbing game. In this, you'll embody a monkey, you'll climb to the top of an obstacle course, a simple premise, but it looks like a great laugh. It reminds me of To the Top, where you'll swing from pipes, take leaps of faith, launch upstairs, and more. I also love the art style. It just seems so quirky and charismatic. Genotype. This title is finally being showcased. I've been in contact with the dev for a while now, and they are offering something pretty cool where your weaponry will be real creatures offering different abilities. It is at its core a survival game, so if you like futuristic survival titles, keep your eyes peeled for an open beta happening on July 17th. Events at Unity Farm, a creepy, sinister looking title that gave nothing but a little tease of the distorted world that they are creating. You can download the demo for this right now on Steam and enjoy this open world VR experience where you can cast spells, craft potions, complete puzzles, and fight the undead. It doesn't seem like the trailer though did the game much justice, because if you look at it on Steam, it looks really decent. This is also coming to PlayStation VR 2. Tinhearts. This is built from the ground up for virtual reality. It's an experience that recently came out on Steam that was a flat screen title that reminds me of old school Lemmings. In it, you are to guide your toy soldiers through the worlds and engage in an immersive VR experience. This is coming to SteamVR, Quest, and PlayStation VR2. Mindset. This is another puzzler, but from a great studio called Carbon. This game supports hand tracking where you will complete puzzled cubes, rotating the device to make sure each part is cohesive with the last. It seems to be one of those titles where you sit down and get lost in after a hard day's work. The ultimate escapism and dopamine hit. So this is coming to the Quest on June 29th. Vox Sys, which is short for system, SYS, not CIS. A game that looks right up my street with its cel-shaded art style. It's like I'm living in a Transformers cartoon, but this style often runs so very well on standalone hardware, and for what looks like to be a fast-paced multiplayer shooter, that's important. In this, you can destroy or build any part of the map and place special blocks for further interactions, which makes the game more interesting and add a real strategic element to it. The title also supports keyboard and mouse, SteamVR, and Quest 2. VAIL. This game is already out, but it's dropping on Quest 2 as an alpha this summer, showcasing Quest 2 footage of the experience during the showcase, and it actually looked pretty decent for Quest 2. Shooters often look rather flat, and I know many would have seen this title on PSVR and not had a chance to enjoy it, but now that's about to change. This is going to come with new game modes, new maps, and new weapons. You can join their Discord for more information as well, and I'll leave a link to it down below in the description. We also have Happy Funland, a VR game that's like a fever dream of a haunted theme park that the devs seem to call darkly comedic. So you agree to meet a stranger called Larry, and on your way, things get rather creepy, and you'll end up fighting off theme park animatronic creatures, but if you need to perk yourself up, you can ride some of the features in the park. This is coming later this year for PlayStation VR2 and SteamVR. Madison VR now. If you needed more horror in your life, we have a title that's had a complete visual overhaul and is now coming to VR as well. The part of this game that gets me though is that you'll be using a camera, using its flash for light, and to capture photos that you will develop later on that will give you evidence to uncover mysteries and solve puzzles. This game just looks like pure fear. The trailer alone has got me shaking. Attempt this if you dare, but it reminds me of PT. Coming to SteamVR and PlayStation VR2. Pneumata VR, Deadbolt Interactive are bringing another horror experience that has me shaking in my boots as there is just so much blood, and then you throw in evil people with pig masks. I can't handle it. There also seems to be button presses over VR interactions in this trailer, which has me a little sad to see, although the game, when I look on Steam, it doesn't say it's VR supported. So maybe this trailer is early and there's going to be another version that wasn't uploaded yet, or is the flat screen game going to have stereoscopic support, which would explain the buttons? Tennis on court. We can breathe again now and release some of that tension from those last 3 horror titles with tennis. I do like seeing the Decathlon sponsor in this game trailer as well. I found that so hilarious. This, as you would expect, is a tennis simulator, where you can choose a realistic experience or an arcade-like one. You'll have racket choices, ball choices, even a spectator mode where people can watch the matches. VR Wimbledon would be epic. This is going to be available on PlayStation VR2 for sure. I couldn't find if it was going to be on Steam or Quest though. Outto Hand. This game uses traversal mechanics like Gorilla Tag, but this game is a platformer that delights the retro gamer in me. You play as a newt-looking creature with extra long arms that will allow you to leap across gaps, fling your fists into enemy faces, so there is a light combat element like any good platformer. This is coming later this year on Quest, around the autumn time, or fall for my fellow Americans. Inverse. Mass VR presents a Dead by Daylight style of play where it's 4v1, and the trailer was Quest gameplay footage which was good to see. So 4 of you in live action sus suits as you attempt to find terminals to complete a little mini skill check, and once all terminals have been activated, you'll unlock weapons, and that way you can hook yourself up to defend yourself against the null. And if you play as the bad guy, you can traverse in 3 dimensions, try to sneak up on people, and kill everybody. There is a feature-limited version available on App Lab now, but the full game will drop in autumn. Gazzlers, a game I spoke about so long ago, I think years ago, is finally coming out. This is an on-rail shooter that looks like you're being attacked by the relatives of Meat Boy. It has classic arcade elements such as perk upgrades to get a spread shot or the ability to buy upgrades so you can handle more pressure. It was intended to be a multiplayer experience, but they've gone with a single player option now. A little sad about that, but this will be releasing on all VR platforms. have Contractors Showdown. This is going to be a battle royale for one of the best first-person shooters available on Quest and PC VR. This is going to be epic because not only does this game look fantastic, it has a player base and a great modding community, although this is going to be coming out in 2024. So hold your horses, but definitely something to get excited about because we know how this game looks, plays, and feels. Throwback. I get such Sonic Green Hill Zone vibes from the very start of this trailer mixed with the retro Paperboy game. In this title, you will ride a bike and launch your newspapers to gain points, pick up perks, and destroy things. This is going to be available right now on Steam in early access, and it's going to be coming to other platforms in 2024. Paint the town red. There's no violence like retro violence. In this title, it looks like Gorn had a baby with bar fights, but they did it in the 70s. This is a flat screen game that is overwhelmingly positive on Steam, but being redone for VR. It looks so much fun. The music, the gore, the styling, the maps, it all appeals to me to let out some VR stress. This is coming to Steam, Quest, and PlayStation VR 2 early 2024. We also have Pixel Ripped 1978. This game is out today on the 15th of June. This is the next installment, taking us back to the 70s, the inception of retro gaming. It's even being published by Atari. So you'll travel between retro gaming classics to try and stop the Siblin Lord. Or is it Siblin Lord? If you're playing on PC, the visuals will look unbelievable. They look fantastic with the style that they have chosen. On Quest, of course, it's not going to look so good, but the retro elements still look fantastic. This is a welcome addition to the VR space, and I loved the first two titles. SurvivorMan VR The Descent. If you're a fan of Bear Grylls, you'll be a little sad to know that this is not him, it's Lestrouds. In this, you have crash landed into the wilderness and you'll have to find ways to survive. You'll explore the icy environment, craft items and tools, hunt for food, start a fire and cook, and it doesn't look that great. Coming to Quest. We now have Power Wash Simulator coming to Quest. This was mentioned at the Meta Showcase, and I said I wouldn't mention any, but this is one of my most anticipated titles, and we've got more gameplay now, showing us different maps and greater detail of the VR experience. This is from End Dreams, who actually sponsored the event, and my goodness, am I pumped. We now have Espire Mixed Reality. This was unbelievable. We saw a teaser a while back of something similar where someone was turning their home into a mixed reality action experience, but Espire are bringing mixed reality missions into your house now via an update. When Quest 3 is here and we have the improved pass-through, this is going to be even better. I love how they've added overlays that look like they go beyond your home. This is going to sell copies of that game for sure. It looks amazing. I'm so impressed if you can't tell. I'm so excited to try this. It's just a shame I live in a British house. They're not the biggest. Sushi Ben, a VR game that has some charm and brings classic fun Japanese styling to virtual reality. A manga adventure where you are trying to bring customers into your sushi restaurant. So you will talk to NPCs, complete various tasks to increase your influence. The game's narrative is also influenced by how you interact with the people in it. The trailer looks like it has some really hilarious over-the-top moments as well, and even a Shiba. Puttzle, what a great name. Hats off to those who came up with that. I thought croquet was dead, but this puzzler looks to bring the upper class sporting into VR as a puzzler called, as I just said, Puttzle. It's a simple premise, it's a very simple premise, just get the ball into the target destination, but that's always easier said than done. We have The Burst, a fantastic looking title that looks like it has the pacing of Pistol Whip, but combined with the parkour of Stride and the shooting action of After the Fall. This is set in a post-apocalyptic world, like a Mad Max style environment. The bit that got me was there was even a moment of you riding a motorcycle, jumping off of a train carriage, and then you just start shooting. It looks so badass, and then you're swinging and grappling off rails. This is exactly what VR is about. Over the top, immersive chaos. I love it. This is definitely a game to watch. We have CrossFire Sierra Squad now, an exciting announcement where they show off some new gameplay of a highly anticipated shooter. It looks like how flat screen FPS games look, but in virtual reality, which so many titles fail to achieve. That level of action and immersiveness. This will launch on the 22nd of August on PlayStation VR 2 and Steam. Dungeon Full Dive. This is a tabletop adventure that I did speak about on the channel years ago. This game lets you build your own maps and create custom characters, and it supports flat screen and VR play depending on what your friends want to use, because you can play with up to 8 players. If you want to play Dungeons & Dragons in VR, this will allow you to do that, as well as other custom tabletop titles. The first-person element of this, though, is what has me excited. It's a whole new way to experience these kinds of games, especially when you're role-playing. You'll be able to actually embody the character. This is coming soon in early access. Sand and Hand, an art title that has sand in it as its unique selling point, where you can use coloured sand, sculpt sand, or draw within it. It supports hand tracking as well, so you can just point a finger and move it around to create textures. This is coming to Pico and Quest. ChronoHunter, a title that looks like a bit of me. This is a shooter with a heavy arcade element, such as combos with special abilities, magic and weaponry. This is a roguelite, so you know what to expect with those RPG elements and lots of death and added difficulty, which often makes these kinds of titles very addictive, and I think this one looks so fantastic. There is also a demo available right now on Steam, with the full game coming soon. TeaHouse of Souls, a title that looks like Nintendo created a VR experience. In it, you'll grow seeds of emotion in an otherworldly environment that allows you to escape the real world, and you'll make tea with harvest crops. And along with that comes worldly interactions for you to get lost in. This has a demo available on Steam right now as well, with the full game coming soon. Grimlord. You may have seen this title on the channel. This is a stunning title from Metal Cat, with great gameplay that some call the Souls of VR. This is a hard fantasy-like RPG where you will fight, traverse, craft, suit up, and stand off against some of the biggest dudes you will come across in VR. The trailer also shows the scale of the game. It's huge, and it's one of the few decent Souls-like experiences for sure. This is coming out fully on the 22nd of June. MicroMachines, a game that will have many folks freaking out. This is pre-alpha footage, and in it you'll get to build your own tracks in VR, launch your cars around, or enjoy some obstacle courses like the Gauntlet. It even comes with a mixed reality mode, which I think where most of the fun is going to lie. This with the Quest 3 will be awesome, especially if you've got kids. It's cheaper than buying 20 variations of Hot Wheels with more possibilities. Not possible in reality. Final Fury, a game that looks to bring the fighter experience to VR, coming from Kluge Interactive, who actually made Synth Riders, which is a slight variation on their previous gaming style. It still brings that futuristic style that they have, and you're going to be reliant on your reaction times in order to defend and counter your opponent's attacks. It looks to be designed so you can pick up and play, you don't have to get into the nitty-gritty to get up and started. It's also multiplayer supported as well, so you can fight with friends. Or strangers. There is a closed beta sign-up available as well, which I'll link down below at finalfuryvr.com. Broken Spectre. The folks that brought the Blair Witch Project felt like they needed some more fear in their life and are bringing a new horror experience. The game puts you in the wilderness in northern Canada as you set out to look for your father who disappeared 25 years ago, and you're still not over it. But of course, as the mystery unravels, so does the horror. This is releasing on June 21st. Liminal Phase. Retro lovers, you'll be happy to know this game is set in the 90s and is a VR action horror, one of my favourite genres, where you will fight monsters, solve puzzles, and they said, explore the fractured mind consumed by video games. So things do seem like they get rather trippy. What is reality? I don't know! Coming soon to SteamVR and Vive Port. Arashi Castle of Sin. Finally, Arashi Castle of Sin that sponsored this video was the final game shown. This was a PSVR exclusive and may remind my 90s babies of Tenchu. How I loved that game. I do hope this doesn't become a Hitman though, because that was just such a horrible port. I have faith in Skydance with this remaster and its upgrade for modern VR coming to Quest 2, 3 and PlayStation VR 2 and SteamVR this fall. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching to the end. This was a long one. This is a condensed version of the 2-hour showcase, and I hope you found something useful here, something to get excited for over the next 12 months. Combine this with Meta's showcase, and we have a handful of experiences that I cannot wait to play. Don't forget to enter the Quest 3 giveaway down below. Have a great week. Happy gaming, guys. Good day.